Hello everyone, and welcome to another Monster Hunter World weapon guide. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Sapphire Star Lance. So we got the Sapphire Star Lance with the release of the Summer Festival. So this is, you have to go play a timed event. It's in the arena, it's called Midnight Mayhem, and when you go play that, you're going to earn a material called a First Fleet ticket. And it's really not challenging at all, it's very easy. It's a workshop weapon, and why don't we go ahead and start looking at its attributes. Sapphire Star Lance's attack value of 437 is kind of on the low side, so it's not really going to be competing with the Fiendish Tower or Tereth Crest Claw, which, by the way, if you're curious about Tereth Crest Claw, I do have a guide on that video already. I'll leave a link in the description and in the comment section. But yeah, in terms of damage, it's not going to set a new meta for the lances. So we can also tell that because the sharpness bar stays blue and it has 0% affinity, which is neither good nor bad. And then, as you can see, it has an already free element of paralysis where the value is 180. Now, in terms of a paralysis lance, it's actually not that impressive either. I did some side-by-side comparison. I think the best one in the game right now is actually the Barrett Stinger 3. You get that from the Lance Barrett tree. And as you can see, it has negative 20% affinity, and it does have a locked paralysis. However, with the Kulve Taroth armor set, it's pretty easy to unlock weapons these days, and the attack value on Barrett Stinger is already a little higher, and the Barrett Stinger gets an extra augmentation slot, and it gets a level 2 decoration slot and a level 1 decoration slot. So really, this new Sapphire Star Lance doesn't really compete with Barrett Stinger. The only thing I can say about it is that it looks really cool, and it's pretty easy to obtain, right? It didn't take me any time at all to build the Shooting Star Lance. So if you want to just do kind of like, I don't know, like a samurai set cosplay, or you just like the way it looks, that would be your primary reason for building this. You wouldn't be building it because it's the best at anything, right? For augmenting this weapon, I'm going to recommend that you take at least one of those 2 slots and put it toward affinity, and the other one I would just put toward health recovery. I do that with most of my melee weapons, just because I like it. I think it's convenient to do that, for casual play especially. Obviously, if you're speedrunning, you probably take an attack or maybe another affinity. I don't know, it's hard to say. I often wonder what goes on in the head of people who just do nothing but speedrun. Maybe they would take health recovery. It depends on who they're fighting, right? Like if you're fighting Val Hazak, you'd probably take a health recovery augmentation. But then on the other hand, would a speedrunner really use this weapon? Probably not. So health recovery it is. Alright, now for the builds, I'm going to be showing 2 builds today, one for people who don't have very many decorations, and the other one for people who have a lot of decorations, okay? So you get to pick which one fits your needs best. Now, the first one's going to be the low decoration build. You can see I have 4 levels of attack boost. That's going to give me the 5% bonus affinity. 3 levels of crit eye. That's going to give me an additional 10% affinity. Weakness exploit, works like regular level 3 weakness exploit. If I hit a crit spot, I'm going to get 50% affinity. And then 2 levels of crit boost that I'm getting onto the build using the Kulve Taroth's Ire Alpha, right? It's a terrific chest piece. And yeah, you can kind of see how these are all fitting on. You'll notice for the Nergigante coil, I've actually gone with the Alpha version. That's because you get Stamina Surge. And surprisingly enough, that's actually kind of useful for somebody using a lance, because if you're taking a lot of stamina damage, right, you're losing a lot of stamina, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of extra, recovery to your stamina. And then Dober Greaves Beta is what's allowing me to get attack boost to 4, right? The first 2 levels come from Nergigante Coil Alpha, the second 2 levels come from the Dober Greaves Beta. So yeah, I thought it's actually a pretty good build overall. For the charm, you can see I have the Master's Charm, and that's what's giving me that extra 10% affinity, which is really important. When you're building up crit boost, you have to have enough affinity to justify bringing crit boost rather than a different piece of armor that would have given you more affinity, right? So that's what we got going on there. You'll notice it doesn't have free element. That's because paralysis is already unlocked. You'll notice also that it doesn't have handicraft on the build. That's because you can't build a white sharpness bar, and the blue sharpness bar is already pretty big. So when we take a look at the big decorations build, it's going to be kind of the same strategy here. The other thing I could have done is I could have swapped the Master's Charm out for like a level 3 paralysis charm, but I don't really feel like that's too necessary. That's because in the course of a fight, you're really only going to proc paralysis maybe 2 times, 3 times if it's an extra long fight, but if it's a nice fast fight, you'll be lucky to get 2. And throwing on that extra charm isn't really going to help, whereas throwing on the Master's Charm is going to end the fight faster because you're going to be doing more damage. Okay, now on the second build, I'm really assuming you guys have a lot more decorations. You can see that I've prioritized once again a combination of weakness exploit, Critical Eye, and Critical Boost. This time though, you can see I've maxed Critical Eye, Weakness Exploit is maxed as usual, Critical Boost is maxed as well. You can also see I have 3 levels of peak performance on the build, and of course that means you really do want a health recovery augmentation in that case, right? And of course we're reaching level 3 peak performance by that super efficient combination of the Empress Male Beta and the Kultaroth Wrath Beta, that's the leggings, right? So a great combination of those 2 armor pieces gets me that peak performance and leaves all those small decoration slots open for me. You'll also notice I have 3 levels of paralysis attack. A different strategy could be to not really even worry about that paralysis, the little extra paralysis, and just build 4 levels of attack boost by giving up 1 of your levels of crit eye. So if you don't really care for the paralysis, or if you think it would be faster to have the attack boost, you're certainly welcome to do that. I could do that myself. It's just a matter of like experimentation. I've only used the weapon so many times. I think what I said earlier when we were taking a look at the lighter builds probably true. You're probably only going to get about 2 procs of the paralysis in a decent fight, in a decent run, right? So it might be the case that the paralysis attack on this build isn't necessary. And once again, there's no handicraft on the build. That's because handicraft, again, large blue bar, doesn't turn white. You don't want it. I also get the nice addition of the 4 levels of wide range. That comes from the Kultaroth Wrath and the Empress Vambrace's Beta, right? Those 2 pieces of armor are giving me 4 levels of wide range. So that's great for multiplayer, right? Okay, and that's my 2 builds for the Sapphire Star Lance. Nice and simple, right guys? Alright, well if you guys appreciate the guide, let me know. Let me know if you're interested in hearing more about the other lances in the game. I've been working on several other weapon types, and really the reason, of course, that I'm working on Sapphire Star Lance is just because it just came out, so it's a very exciting weapon to kind of work on and look into, and I've actually played the lances a lot myself. Okay, well that's everything I have to say. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.